Now moving on to the last but not the least, temporal lobe. Temporal lobe, it's the one that is present beneath the lateral sulcus, and it consists of the superior, middle, and inferior gyri. The most prominent functional areas that I'm going to discuss is the auditory area. Of course, there are many others, but I'm here going to discuss the auditory areas. The auditory areas are this area 41, 42. It is present inside the lateral sulcus. If you press your hand inside the lateral sulcus on your lower aspect, you will find that. So here, this part has been removed. You can see right here, this part has been removed. You can see insular cortex right here, and that is the lateral sulcus. So the lateral sulcus, this part, this is the superior surface of the superior temporal gyrus or inferior surface of the lateral sulcus. So this is the area that is the primary auditory cortex, and beneath and parallel to it here is the association cortex. So primary, its function is very much similar to that of primary somatostatic and primary visual cortex, that it is actually the receiver. From the auditory pathway, ultimately the signal is received here, just like the somatostatic, primary and primary visual. It has a map against which each signal is received at a particular point, but here the map is by the frequency. Most anteriorly the low frequency and most posteriorly the high frequency are received. So that is the tonotopic organization. And with our cranial nerve lectures, you can see the auditory pathway with the this vestibulocochlear nerve. And if you see the pathway, we'll see that it is ultimately receiving signals from both sides of the cerebral, both ears. So ultimately it is receiving signal from both ears and more from the contralateral aspect. So this is damaged. If that is damaged, it will lead to the partial deafness on both the ears, and more affected will be the contralateral ear. Then there is association area, and this is the area 22, and this area is responsible for receiving the signals from the primary area and associated with the past experiences and interpreted in something meaningful. Our next area, it is present in the auditory association area, present both in the parietal and the temporal lobes. 39, 40 areas of the parietal lobe and 22 area gyrus of the temporal lobe, and it has a connection to the Broca's area through the arcuate fasciculus, and it is the point where the language is processed. The language is understood at this point and the language is generated at this point. So I will go into a little more detail as we move on to discuss the speech part, but for now let's stay put. I will discuss these again in the speech part of my lecture. Anterior temporal cortex has a large number of nuclei and large number of areas that are responsible for storage of previous experiences, previous sensory experiences, and the stimulation may lead to person recalling objects or even hallucinating objects and hallucinating smell. The temporal lobe is the part where smell is received too. So these areas, you can see a case scenario of temporal epilepsy. The person hallucinates smell, the person hallucinates, and old memories are brought to the